Anatomy of compassion when fear becomes the doorway. Over 3 years ago, on the threshold of what I now recognize as my awakening, I harbored an immense devotion driven by an insatiable curiosity. I was in my studio, that intimate refuge that functions simultaneously as a sanctuary for meditation and the forge for my daily work. There, surrounded by the materials, the textures, and the silence of my own expression, I felt a pang in the center of the chest. From that unexplored depth, I sang the Sri Argala Stotram in that profound version by Krishna Das. I sang, "Show me love." And with each repetition, I cast a genuine plea into the void. I would like to feel what love truly is. I would like it to be shown to me. It was not a simple request, but the cry of someone who sensed that walking through days without experiencing unconditional surrender, a love capable of embracing every situation, every being, in every fraction of time, is to live merely on the surface of the existence. I felt a visceral urgency to embody that immensity, convinced that only through it would I reach the wholeness my soul demanded. Yet, just a couple of days ago, a profound conviction came to me that I who chanted mantras did not yet understand the overwhelming magnitude of her own plea. Today I know that love is not a fortuitous discovery or an external gift. It is an unalterable state of divinity. You are that divinity vibrating in absolute truth. How can a person genuinely love when they harbor so many parts of themselves in the secrecy of judgment and rejection? It is a question that modern spirituality has repeated ad nauseam, but often without touching its most visceral dimension. We judge ourselves with a relentless severity for those dark areas where we believe we haven't acted in the correct or just way. We become our own executioners in the face of wandering thoughts and raw sensations that, like unexpected visitors, come knocking on the door of the mind. We blame ourselves for our own humanity, trying to hide those raw and dark parts of our psyche, as if they were imperfections ruining the masterpiece, instead of recognizing them as the raw material of our own death. However, the path of the consciousness of love and thus to the unity of all things is not paved with immaculate and sterile purity. It begins inevitable with a profound and ineffable compassion towards our own ruins. A compassion that is not a haughty forgiveness, but the result of fully accepting what is happening within us, in the same way that gold embraces the cracks of a fractured piece to restore its integrity and make it even more valuable. Embracing our guilt, our sense of inadequacy, and the rawness of our own contradictions is the first step to stop being fragmented. It is the absolute surrender to what truly is in this very instant. When trying to put a label on this recognition of my authentic nature, the first great wave that hit me was not light, but terror, a dense and freezing fear seeping through the soles of my feet, accompanied by a climbing anxiety that crept up my leg like a suffocating vine, paralyzing my breath. I didn't know how to stop its advance, and my instinctive reaction, dictated by centuries of human conditioning, was absolute resistance, declaring all outward on my own shadow. I began to use meditation not as a bridge toward understanding, but as a desperate shield to ward off the anguish. I tried to force my mind to distract itself, to look anywhere else just to avoid holding the gaze of that darkness. In my eagerness to excise that sensation from my being, I resorted to all kinds of rituals, soaking my feet in salt, hoping to purge the pain, patiently wrapping them in essential oil, and suggesting myself to constant outward cleansing. I was intimately convinced that there was something defective in me. I blindly believed my energetic body was broken, harboring a crack through which imperfection leaked. I fought so vehemently that, for a time, I managed to dumb the symptom and stop feeling it. I repeated to myself that I was the consciousness that encompassed everything. But in the twilight of that illusory victory, I still saw fear as an alien invader, as an enemy completely distinct and separate from me. Last week, however, the fragile dam of containment collapsed. The fear repeated, this time accompanied by an even deeper anguish. Coincidentally, if coincidence has any place in a fabric of this universe, just a few days prior, I had listened to a satsang by Helen Hamilton. Her words have remained suspended in my consciousness, ripening in the silence, and suddenly the revelation pierced me. I realized that all this time my spiritual practice has actually been a sophisticated mechanism of rejection. All my effort has been centered on punished fear out of my house. The paradox revealed itself with an overwhelming clarity. I was withdrawing fear from myself because I was afraid of fear. After this raw assimilation, life presented the scenario to me again. There was the anxiety visiting me, inhabiting my chest. But I knew with an unshakable certainty that this time there was no big resistance, no oils, distractions, or chills. I understood that this pulsating expression of terror was also consciousness. I was the fear. I was not a fragmented person suffering an emotion, fear, and I had always been one single, indivisible substance. My only possible response was to open the door, step into the epicenter of that anguish, look it straight in the eye, and speak to it from the purest surrender. You are not separate from me. We are one and indivisible. I am the fear, and I am the consciousness, experiencing itself through the fear. You are a sacred expression, a bridge toward my authentic essence, which is the unalterable consciousness of love. I am love, and I am fear. I am overflowing joy and the deepest sorrow. I am the bee that lands on the flower, but I am also the weed that grows without permission. I spread and contemplate myself in the world of forms, but also dwell in the vast mystery of the formless. Upon speaking this truth, upon wrapping my own error in the arms of unconditional acceptance, something ancient and heavy unlocking within me. I was pierced by an immense luminous joy, born not of a false perfection, but in the infinite relief of seeing myself reflected and held at last, and the totality of human misery and greatness. Right at that moment of surrender, the circle closed, and finally understood the true magnitude of that plea, and repeated in my studio 3 years ago while singing "Show Me Love." My being, in its infinite patience, had shown me that the consciousness of love was always there, beating intact even in the very heart of fear. By stopping the bride of embracing an anguish, I immediately returned to my unity. I discovered that the journey toward wholeness was not an act of cosmic magic or an ascension to unreachable skies. It was a humble and brave descent into my own ruins. It consisted of diving into what I rejected, walking the halls of my shadows, and recognizing my own face in every dark corner, embracing myself at last with total and unconditional compassion. This is the true path revealed to me to the Great Mother. That immensity I had asked to know love. She taught me the wholeness does not reside in reaching an ideal of polished perfection, nor in fitting into the exhaustive mold of what should be imposed by society. True wholeness blooms in the pure, stark recognition of what is. In that full acceptance, by dropping the whip of constant correction, is where true rejoicing, inexhaustible bliss, and the joy of simple existing naturally spring forth. Whatever you do, whatever you see, whatever you do is the manifestation of consciousness. It is like ice and water. The ice of our fear and the water of our unconditional love come from the same source.